Hi everyone, I'm Shiroi, co-founder of NagaEd, and it's a pleasure to share a bit about NagaEd's journey, especially in managing our stakeholders. We have investors, we have clients, we have, so many people that we meet. So how do we engage and, and build trust and create value for the company? Okay, I have to start looking at the bigger picture. I have to keep myself motivated. How do I do that, right? And during that time, I remember, making a plan for the next 30 years and how I was going to implement that in the next 5 years. Or not startups, sorry, basically micro entrepreneurs. And as I moved to Singapore, what I saw was, first of all, the country of Singapore, right? If you've read Lee Kuan Yew's book, so he built Singapore, right? So there's a book called From Third World to First World in 35 years, right? From 1965 to 2000, Singapore now is a world-class country and they've done it in just 35 years, right? People talk like us, eat like us, so very similar things, but the way they built up the country was so inspirational. And my class, so I'm studying at National University of Singapore, it's like the top college in Asia, right? And I was amongst so many people in the class, right? International people. And what I realized is that, hey, I'm from Naga, I'm also not that bad. Is my realization, right? Because I went there and I was so scared, oh, I'm from Nagaland, I'm just a really, small person, like a tribal person coming in. But when I went there, I was like, oh, I was not that bad. I wasn't the best, but I could communicate, I could communicate my thoughts. I really enjoyed the process. And so people there, especially Singaporeans, I realized that Nagas are even better than them because I have worked here for so long, right? Given the right tools and opportunities, Nagas could be so much better. So I think with that inspiration, as we build NagaEd as well, right? I'm just reflecting back. So I want to share a little bit about our journey of how we kind of thought about building up this company and also like our journey with that. So like I said, my first question was this, that I had written down in 2020. So as Kevisato had mentioned earlier as well, when we set out to build NagaEd, we thought a lot about the vision and mission, right? So we were both really aligned on what we wanted for our community, and that's what brought us together. And we set our vision as an educated and informed community, helping build a better society. So besides the business, being sustainable, financially growing, we really had a very strong vision of how we wanted our community not only to be educated, but also to be empowered and build a better society. So our company's vision, I think when we talk to even our colleagues or anyone who joins our company, we really look at this vision. And some of the values that we we talked a little bit about the values as well, but these 4 values are what we chose around sustainability, responsibility, curiosity, and quality. So in terms of sustainability, right? So what is how does this company, translate to the future generation, right? We're not only talking about NagaEd for one generation, right? But as we build up the company, we really think about the sustainability, what's our responsibility, to our community, our curiosity, and the quality. I won't dive so much into it, but I'll speak as we go on. So these are kind of the vision and mission that we keep in mind when we talk to our stakeholders. So when I say stakeholders, we have investors, we have our clients, right? We work with different government partners as well. And these 3 things, from our experiences, has been the building blocks for building a lasting impact. So the first one is really on aligning values, right? So whenever we meet any partner, be it an investor as well, when our values don't align, it's very difficult to have that conversation with them, right? So even if we've had situations as well where we had a few investors who wanted to probably give us some money as well, but just because we just couldn't see any value alignment, so we have to be very honest with them as well that, oh sorry, but just the values are not aligning in the vision and mission of what we want and what you're offering. Second is of course trust and reliability. Having trust among the partners, this translates to your clients or this translates to your investors, and having meaningful conversations, right? So these 3 things we see have been the building blocks of our relationships with our clients. So I'll just give you a journey of how we kind of have clients. So this year is in 2022 with one of our clients. So this one is Sir Johnny. He was supposed to be here today, but he's not here right now. So we had a CSR calculate, if you all remember. most of the entrepreneurs are there, and we started, having a conversation, right? In that conversation, of course, we had met so many people, but just one thing clicked, right? Just our values alignment were clicked. He's someone who loves innovation. He's very curious, right? As soon as he heard NagaEd, he was so excited. Then he was like, how do we build a product for my department, right? So he was someone who was curious. So in that 2-second conversation, we immediately clicked. So with all of our stakeholders, when we're meeting clients as well, this is basically the process. We identify, we discover potential partners aligning with our values, we connect with them, we co-create. So most of the programs, of course, for schools, we have a tailor-made program, and we also work with different departments. We work with, right now, referral hospital. So we really co-create our solutions so that it's not just us giving them a solution which won't work, but how do we work on that together? How do we implement it? And of course, this process has led us to sealing the deal. In August this year, you can see our colleagues signing off the agreement for us to officially work with 10,000 teachers in the coming years, and we will be onboarding 5,000 of them this year, right? So this is basically a journey of our stakeholder journey. So some of the learnings that we've had in this process in the past few years is really around the 5 building blocks: building trust and rapport, effective communication, professionalism, relationship-centric approach, and exceeding expectations. So I will share a little bit about my personal experiences with that. So when it comes to investors, right? I think investors really value your word, right? I work in the social development sector, where a lot of times in the development sector, right, you have to really again sell the impact, right? I think Meadow knows what I'm talking about. We've been in social impact circles as well. So sometimes the development sector, it really becomes, you have to not exaggerate, but you have to really kind of build up those numbers, right? So in that process, sometimes you also tend to exaggerate. So my whole background has been in that, right? Because you kind of sell poverty, right? So I think coming to this startup, right? One is, of course, we have to sell our brand, but we also have to stay true to our word, right? So we really think about our values, what we are actually doing, and not overdo it, right? So investors really value your word. Secondly, clients value relationships, build on trust and loyalty, especially in NagaEd, right? People don't really, the product is one thing, but in NagaEd, the clients connect with you, right? They take the product initially because, they look at the team, they look at how well we connect with them. If the person is someone they can't connect, they just don't take the product. So we've seen this with a lot of our clients. They really look at how they can connect with us, that they can trust us, and then they just give it to us. And I think Atubal from Tabernacle can speak to that because he has a lot of experience with the churches as well, right? So the clients really look on the trust and reliability. And of course, we prioritize transparency and consistent delivery. So with our clients, with our investors, we really want to keep things transparent. So we do a lot of status updates, reports, which our team prepares and sends to them. Second one is around effective communication, of course, articulating our vision. So for investors, again, it's about articulating that vision for them. A lot of the investors, unless they kind of are able to, so I'm from NagaEd, right? So especially when you go on the national platform, a lot of our investors are of course from outside. So they're not able, even though I'm telling this and that, they just can't understand the problem, right? So we have to really paint a picture and make it something that we can connect with. So I'll just give you an example of a recent pitch that I did. So of course they're sitting maybe in Bombay, some in the US, so people are sitting everywhere. Before I go into the pitch of my product and everything, I talk to them about community. Like for example, I talk to them about success, right? So in Naga culture, I think we really talked about the Feast of Merit, something that we've talked about before. I think you guys have heard it as well. But success is to be measured by not how much you could acquire or how much wealth you had, but how much you contributed back to your community, right? And that is called the Feast of Merit, right? And that measure of success was what our community thrives on. So when I talk to them about that, immediately I think there's a connection because they also know what success is, right? So maybe they don't know so much about NagaEd and all or the problems that we face, but immediately they connect with that one sort of point that I'm talking about. And then I can talk to them about the product of EdTech, blah, 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 right? So for example, just articulating our vision or what we want for the community is really important. Second, then the second one, I'll just talk a little bit about the clients. I think clients in NagaEd as well, just kind of simplifying, the language. We tailor it according to different clients because again, different audiences have a different way of receiving things. Some of you may have to learn the hard way, but it's about the language that we use, tailored to different clients. Professionalism and presentation. Again, we like it or not, people also have an outward. You also have to, play a part as a startup founder, as a professional, right? So being professionally inward and outward becomes important with our stakeholders and articulating the company's value and brand, right? So what does NagaEd stand for? So these are kind of the things that, like how we present our brand to the bigger audience. And we have a very, with any clients or any projects, we do take a very relationship-centered approach. So that means that we are not just talking about the sale, right? What's going to happen when you sign up or something like that, but we're like, okay, what do you want, right? So for example, this is a photo of us with, we just signed a project with the district administration in Kiteri to work with 15 government schools and private schools. And we basically did a lot of going back and forth with them even before signing the project to see what exactly does the community need, right? Not like this is our solution, you guys use. We're not going to take a tech solution to a place which doesn't have internet. So then they give us their input. Okay, some of the government schools have some smart TVs, right? So we brainstorm a lot of what's going to work for them. So I think in any relationship that we have with our clients, we really look at the relationship-centric approach, right? And finally, we will officially be confident that we've signed a contract with them, and that's a photo of us. Yeah, so like I said, focusing on the conversations, not just the output, but also collaborating in problem solving with our stakeholders. And finally, I think exceeding expectations has really worked, like delivering beyond expectations, right? So sometimes I think even as companies, we tend to oversell certain things with our marketing or this and that, right? So it's really important to prioritize on the quality, right, and avoid over-promising. One thing that Kim Sadhu said to me when I was in Singapore, which I remember, is he said, does your work fit your circumstances, or does your circumstances bow down to your work, right? So you see something, right, and instead of not being able to meet them, you kind of bow down to your circumstances after saying something. So instead of that, can we focus around the quality, right, of the product that we're giving? And I'm very proud to say, as a team, we've really been able to exceed the expectations. We have a 100% retention rate of our customers who keep coming back to us every year because of the quality that we're providing. So some of the challenges, of course, is we've had multiple challenges as every startup. We've talked a bit about the skilled labor force. I think finding the right fit for the team as well, right? So all those things has been a challenge for us. One of the things as we kind of grow our company that I'm thinking a lot about is how do we scale while maintaining the quality. So the team now is working a lot around the processes. How do we have those processes in place before we scale our activities, right? And of course, it's a nascent market for digital education in the Northeast, especially in NagaEd. So when we go to talk to anyone, it takes a lot of time to make them understand the power of technology, how technology can really automate a lot of the work that they're doing, how technology can really aid in improving the quality of education. Right, so it's taken us a lot of time to educate the market, I would say. So those are some of the challenges we've had, but we've been slowly navigating through those and been able to do things successfully. So just to sum up some of the pathways, I would think is for investment in startups are looking for investment. I think finding the strategic partners is really, really important. We spoke to recently, someone who's basically saying, oh, why don't you, is a potential investor, but also telling us to send in, if you are having these issues, I was telling her of some of the problems that we're having, and she's just trying to find different, how she can help me, right? So I think it's really important to find strategic partners who are willing to invest. Finding alignment, we've already talked about, finding, alignment in some of our values really helps. Also reserving judgment, same objective. It's easy to get angry, right? So many things, especially being a founder in a startup, it's easy to be frustrated with the system, with so many things that are going on. But I think one of the things recently, our friend Rewaj came from Sikkim, right? And he was saying, we're all in the ecosystem, yeah? We're all in the ecosystem, we're all trying to do something. So let's work together, right? There's so much to complain about, but my point is that I think we can reserve our judgment and find a way to work together, right? It's not always easy to say, but to say. And of course, practicing patience and embracing challenges. So I think one of the things that I shared with the team a few weeks ago is that being a founder, I don't have experience being a founder. I worked with a lot of around microfinance and financing many entrepreneurs in the past, but I don't have the experience of being an entrepreneur myself. This has been the first time, right? The past 2 years, and it's been really difficult, right? Just transitioning into this role has been extremely challenging for me, to be very honest. So sometimes it may look very fancy and this and that, but it's really taken a huge hit on so many other aspects in my life. But still, why do we keep pressing on, right? So for me, I think keeping that bigger vision of transforming the narrative, right, of our community has been really good, has been like an anchor for me. And also embracing those challenges, right? So over the past 2 years as well, there's been lots of challenges, but then you're just okay, I'm learning so much. What am I learning from this? What am I learning from this? And how can I then share it, right, to the bigger community or to anyone who's coming into this system? So I think embracing the challenges and kind of embracing the fear that comes along is really helpful. So I think overall, as a company as well, we invest a lot in our sort of the first few years, right? So though we are a B2B SaaS model, we have a product, all that, but we invest so much even with our teachers, even with our admins. We go and spend a lot of time with our schools, even with our government clients, right? We just go and keep bugging them because we want to make sure that they're getting the best quality. So we invest a lot, which doesn't really translate, which really translates to a long-term relationship, right? So yeah. So today we're proud to say that we have about 11 academic partners, about 7,000 users, and that's how we've grown over the years. And hopefully, I think this number is increasing a little more as I speak. So yeah, I think just to come back to that question that I asked, right? Can we build a company out of Nagaland or the Northeast that is compatible globally? And I think we can do it. Yeah. So thanks everyone.